چه چیزاییه؟
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It is the birthday of Imam alayhi salatu wassalam, and we all send our salams, sincere salams to the Imam. Assalamu alayk ya sahib al-zaman. Assalamu alayk ya sharik al-Quran. Assalamu alayk ya Imam al-insi wal-jan. And these salams that are sent to the Imam, they get to them. And like every salam that we greet each other, and the reply of that is mandatory wajib, the same applies to the Imam. Now the reason why we don't hear his reply are these firewalls that we have created as a result of all these excessive sins that we have committed. May Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala remove all these firewalls and the barriers that are between us and him, and the barrier which is blocking his return is again the wrong that mankind has done. Allah hasten in his return and his reappearance. Assalamu alayk ya sahib al-zaman. On a day like today, in the year 255 after Hijrah, Friday, 15th of Shaban, the year 255 after Hijrah, which is 1186 years before today, or it is the 1186th birthday of the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Hakima Khatun is the aunt of Imam Askari alayhi salatu wassalam, and the daughter of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam Askari invites his aunt to his house for iftar on a day like today, and then says that, Aunt, I want you to be here tonight, have your iftar here, and because it is Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, he has intended that his hujjah, his argument, his evidence, his proof be born today. She inquires, and who is the mother? Imam says, from Narjis Khatun alayha salam. Well, because it was the word of the Imam, and that mu'mina, aunt of Imam alayha salam, she did not doubt the statement of the Imam. She said, if he has said, if Imam says so, then definitely it will happen. Now she comes and sees Hazrat Narjis Khatun. The moment when Hazrat Narjis Khatun comes and sees the aunt of Imam Askari alayhi salam, she greets her, she welcomes her, and she comes by Hazrat Narjis Khatun and says, allow me to remove your footwear. She says, the aunt says, that I cannot, because you are the lady and you are the honorable lady here. She gets offended at how come a lady so old, and how she says that, offended meaning that she was moved at this statement that never heard before. Now she says that it is you who are the lady. And then she says that tonight is the night when Agha has informed, that is Imam Askari has informed of the birth of the hujjah, of the argument of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, but they see no signs of any but no signs of pregnancy as such that any person would see and say. Now, this, she says that I had my iftar, I occupied myself in du'as, I recited some Quran, I then went to sleep, and on and off I used to go and check on Imam's wife, Hazrat Narjis Khatun alayha salam. Says that I never saw any signs of any labor, any pains. She says that because Imam had said, I had that yaqeen that whatever he has said is right. She says I offered my night prayers and then I recited Surat Alif Lam Mim Sajda and Surat Yasin, and then I went to bed. And then I saw that Hazrat Narjis Khatun, she wakes up, she offers her night prayers, and then she is in pain suddenly. Here, Halima Hakima Khatun, the aunt, she says, I come by Narjis alayhi salam, I hug her, I comfort her, I ask her to keep repeating the name of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And from the other room, Imam Askari alayhi salam, he says, Aunt, recite Suratul Qadr. Here Hazrat Narjis, she starts reciting Suratul Qadr. She says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Imam, who hasn't been born yet from the mother's womb, says, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. The mother says, Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. The baby from the womb says, Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. So one ayah the mother recites, the next ayah the son recites, and the entire surah was recited, and Imam hasn't been born yet. Hakima Khatun alayha salam, the aunt, she says that I see a veil, a curtain of nur draws between me and her, and the next moment I see that the baby has been born. The baby falls in sajda, performs that sajda, and then the baby is given. Imam says, Imam Askari now says that, can I have the baby? The baby was given to the Imam, and Imam says, speak to me, my son. And the son says, that is Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam, says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And then mentions the name of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Mujtaba, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And all of the Imams, one after the other, were mentioned. And then he says that, Allahumma anjizli wa'di, God, that promise for which you have created me, assigned me, sent me, fulfill that promise of yours through me. وَأَتْمِمْ لِي amri, and your command, seal it, and then confirm it, and carry it out through me. وَثَبِّتْ وَتْأَتِي وَامْلَئِ الْأَرْضَ بِي عَدْلًا وَقِسْطًا. This is the Imam, an infant in the laps of his father, says that Allah, make it as such that this land, this earth, be filled with justice, with equity through me. That is Imam upon his birth. And then she says, Hakima alayha salam, the aunt, and then a week passes there. Or soon after that, when Imam says, give me the baby is given to the Imam on the 7th day. There Imam says, son, speak to me. There Imam, that is Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, says, وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, recites that ayah, that Allah has intended that those who have been weakened in the land, in the earth, they will be given strength, they will be given honor. أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, Allah's special favors are upon them. وَنَجْعَلُهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلُهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ, and we have made them the Imams, and we have made them the inheritors. So this dunya, all of it, He who's going to inherit it is the Imam alayhi salam. His assignment from his birth, you can see that the first statement he says that this land has to be filled with equity and justice, just like it has been filled with tyranny, oppression, and zulm. So all of that has to remove, and we see that in this day and age. We are so fortunate to see this moving towards that direction. And then Imam on the seventh day, he says that I took the baby recited the ayah, and on his right hand, right arm was written, Ja al-haq wa zahaq al-batil, inna al-batila kana zahuqa. That haq has arrived, and batil it is to be removed, and inna al-batila kana zahuqa. And this batil, it being Zahuk and something which never exists, it has to be alienated and removed from the surface. It was always like that. If we see Batil in strength today, Batil is never strong. It's all these charms that are being shown or fright that is being created. Batil is never strong. Inna kayd shaitan kana dha'ifa. Quran says that all this kayd and makr and tactics of shaitan, they have always been weak. Not weak now in 2020. It has always been weak ever since. Shaitan is always weak. Anything which is batil is weak. Anyone against haq is weak. So we see all these miracles that were seen upon the birth of the Imam, that Imam, he is born without seeing any labor pains, any signs of pregnancy. And the reason behind all of that is 11 of the Imams were killed prior to this, and also the time where Imam Askari alayhi salam living in the barracks in Samirra was such a difficult time on the Imam, his father and his grandfather, that they were informed that the baby will be born and he is the one who is going to lead humanity and mankind towards justice and freedom. They did not want that to happen. Just like what they did during the time of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, thousands of babies were killed. The moment they found out a mother is pregnant, they used to kill the mother or the baby so that that Messiah is not born. The same scenario and the story was here in Samirra, because they were informed of the birth, so they were monitoring the house of Hazrat Imam Askari alayhi salam, that no birth is born there. So Allah also, when He wants something to happen, He does it. There it was the mother of Musa who was pregnant, no one knew, and the baby was born, again no one knew, and Allah wanted that mission to be carried out. That baby was born and left in that river, and then was raised in the palace of that Mal'un who stood against God, against Prophet Musa. So Imam, when he is born, he speaks, he recites Quran. That is again nothing to be questioned, because we do have in Quran Prophet Isa alayhi salam. He also, when he was born, he supports his mother and her being innocent by reciting that ayah in the laps of the mother, Inni Abdullah Atani al-Kitab wa Ja'alani Nabiyya. So even then the baby recited Quran, and here also Imam al-Asr, he recited Quran. And all these numerous miracles that were seen upon the birth of Imam alayhi salatu wassalam are all there. One of the ulama of the Shia world, who is also known as the father of sciences and ulum, and Ustad al-Bashar was the title given to him, is Sayyid ibn Ta'us alayhi rahmah. Among those ulama who lived 820 years ago, and among those ulama who has witnessed who recognizes the fragrance of the Imam and recognizes the voice of the Imam. He is among those ulama who has reported many du'as, many mukashafat that took place between him and the Imam alayhi salam. One of the du'as that he has reported, you must have heard, it is known as the Salawat Khaja Nasiruddin Tusi. And there it starts like Allahumma salli ala wa sallim wa zid wa barik ala صاحب الدولة صاحب الدعوة النبوية والصولة الحيدرية والعصمة الفاطمية والحلم الحسنية والشجاعة الحسينية والمآثر الباقرية والآثار الجعفرية والعلوم الكاظمية والحجج الرضوية والجود التقوية والنقاوة النقوية والهيبة العسكرية. And then when it addresses the Imam alayhi salam says وَالْغَيْبَةِ الْإِلَهِيَّة, and then and ends the salawat with lauds and praises for the Imam alayhi salam. Now this term that is used for the Imam, وَالْغَيْبَةِ الْإِلَهِيَّة, now we don't have that title of ghaib for anyone in this creation of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. It is only and only Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam who has been given this title of ghaib. Now ghaib means that freedom which you have, which I have, living freely in the society, in the community, everyone sees me, I see everyone. That is freedom, the first right everyone has. But Imam doesn't have that. That freedom has been taken away from the Imam for his protection. Because if he lives freely, like all the other Imams and Prophets who were killed, he also will be killed. Now, if you get time, just look into this Ziyarat al Yasin and the Ziyarat of Imam al-Asr alayhi salam that we recite on Friday. We say that one of the terms used for the Imam, now here the title is Ghaibat al-Ilahiyya, Ghaib, and there says Khaif. Assalamu alayka ayyuhal muhazzabul khaif. Khaif means someone who is afraid. Now, afraid over here doesn't mean that he is scared of someone. Afraid in the sense that for the protection and the well-being, some people of that high caliber, they can't be identified where they live, where they stay. That security has to be so strong so that the protection which is wajib upon him, and he must not put himself in danger and harm and no one finds out, that is the first duty which is applicable to those people. Likewise, it's the Imam that he has to protect himself for his well-being, for him to be safe. So there says, Assalamu alayk ayyuhal muhazzab al-khaif. Khaif means scared. Why scared? Because he cannot be in one location. No one knows where that location is, and if that location is identified, then all these enemies from among the jinn and the ants who are standing against the Imam, all the forces who are fighting against the Imam, they will identify him. And he cannot be identified, so he has to keep on changing locations like anyone else of that high authority, or that he has to keep changing his location. Now, why is this term and title Ghaib given to the Imam? Why is he Ghaib? Now here in another hadith, Imam Kazim alayhi salatu wassalam, he says that إِذَا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى عَلَى خَلْقِهِ نَحَّانَا عَنْ جَوَارِحِهِمْ. When Allah is, غَضِبَ means furious, or in easy language, when he is angry. When Allah is furious with his creation, what he does is that Nahana an jawarihim. Nahana means he distances us, the Ahlul Bayt, the Imams, from the people. So this time that we are living in, where the Imam has been distanced from us, where the Imam has been removed from the society that we are in the livelihood, in the freedom that we are in, Imam has been taken away, means Allah is not happy with us. Because Allah is not happy with us, Allah is furious, He has taken the Imam away. And if we want to gain or regain that kindness or kind look of the Almighty Allah, so what do? We have to do something that He is happy, as a result of which He returns the Imam, which will be a sign of showing His joy and His happiness towards us. So here Hadith says, إِذَا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ Allah, the Hadith is from Imam Kazim alayhi salam. إِذَا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى عَلَى خَلْقِهِ, when Allah is furious with His creation, نَحَانَا عَنْ جَوَارِهِهِمْ, He distances us from their presence. Now, He distances us from their presence. Now, when we look into the society that we are living in, there is so much of disunity within the Shias, within the Muslims, or at large the chaos that we have, that we see created in this world, so much that is as a result of lack of ma'rifah, not knowing the Imam alayhi salam, that is, not knowing the existence of God. Now, when you even analyze this whole chaotic situation that we have for the past 1 month, and how people have been reacting and behaving, especially when it comes to stores and dealing with one another, those who were safest, or whose output or how they performed was the best, are those who had that ma'rifah of God, ma'rifah of Rasulullah, ma'rifah of the Imam, or those who were trained and raised by the member in the mosque, or who have learned. You didn't see all these happenings, what we saw here, in those parts of the world where people were bonded and connected with the mosque. Now, may they be from whichever school of thought, whosoever was connected to some kind of a ma'rifah, some kind of a knowledge, some kind of a religion, we didn't see all this mess that we have here there. So tafriqa, the disunity, is at large. Lack of ma'rifah is another issue. People don't know. And then all the wrong that has been done and all the sins that are being done, these are the reasons why, which ignite or which invite the fury and the wrath of Allah, as a result of which He took away the Imam from us. Now, this is something that happened then. Our ancestors, whoever they were living at that time, their performance was bad, as a result of which Allah, He took away the Imam. Now we are talking about our own selves, and then that sher, that Irani poet, he says, Man az biganegan hargiz nanalam, ke ba man har che kard an ashina kard. Imam says that I don't worry, or I don't complain of what the others they have done. My complaint is from my own people, from my own Shias. That is, the wrong that they do, that hurts more. Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman. So the wrong that we have done, or the performance that we should have been having, which wasn't to the best of our ability and what Imam has wanted, as a result, He is also unhappy with us. We ask Allah that on this day of the Imam alayhi salam, He corrects us, He puts things right. Allahumma aslih kulla fasidin min umur al-muslimin. All this corruption that is in the affairs and tasks of Muslimin, Allah, You fix and You correct. That is the dua that we have, and we ask Imam to mediate and to help us. One of the other salams that we have for the Imam, it says, Assalamu alayk ya Rabi' al-Anam wa Nadrat al-Ayyam. Rabi' al-Anam means, Salam be upon you, the spring of creation. Spring is the season when everything is lively, everything from that dead or that dark winter, it is coming out, everything sprouts. The The greenery also you see start coming, glowing and blossoming. Imam also does the same task. Assalamu alayk ya Rabi al Anam, someone who will revive the creation, this creation that has fallen into so much of darkness, so much of wrong, so much of filth, so much of corruption. He will come and bring them out from all this evil, from this dark tunnel. So when it is said that it is the end of a phase, Akhir Zaman, meaning that it is the starting of a beautiful phase. A new phase is blossoming. And for that phase to blossom, we have to go through a tough time in Ma'al Usri Yusra, and that will bring us to this beautiful phase of the Imam, which is the intention and the irada and the desire, the want of Allah wa ta'ala, that this land, this earth, it has to blossom towards beauty. And that beauty is via the Imam alayhi salam, and that was the dua that he has upon his birth, that he asks Allah that make it as such that he installs that freedom, that equity and this justice on this planet earth. Assalamu alayk ya Rabi al Anam wa nadrat al ayyam. Nadrat al ayyam means the joy of time. The joy of every time, it is going to be in the time of the Imam alayhi salam. Now we see that how much of suffocation is there, how much we are suffering, all this tough time that everyone is going through. There is no part of the earth today that anyone could be happy. So this shows that what we find in du'as, that intizarul faraj, that waiting for the relief, is seen to the max today. This never existed ever in history, in the human society, never. May that be person who is faithful, who is faithless, who is a mu'min, who is a kafir, whoever that be. Everyone has a window that has opened in their mind that they need help, that someone has to render a helping hand, a kind hand. Now we say that is Imam Mahdi, others say it is the Messiah, some say that is Jesus, some say that whoever it is, he has to come in the end of time. But everyone is wanting that that being who is from beyond to come and save us all, and that is the Imam alayhi salam. Or what we see, that light is there, Imam is there. It is we who have to open the doors and windows to get the light that is already present. Imam is present, but we don't invite him. So we have to open ourselves, we have to know, we have to befriend ourselves with the Imam alayhi salam, as a result of which we will benefit much more from the Imam. Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman. This love that we have towards the Imam alayhi salam, it is a reciprocal love. That is, if I love him, he will also love me. Uzkuruni azkurkum. Quran says, you remember me, I will remember you. Ud'uni astajib lakum. You call upon me and I will respond to your prayers, to your du'as. One of the ziyarat that we have for the Imam alayhi salam is ziyarat Al Yasin. And in this beautiful ziyarah, the phrase that we have, it says, Allah, make it as such that antamla qalbi, that you fill my heart with nur al yaqeen, with the light of certainty, wa mawaddati nur al mawalat, and this love that I have, this friendship that I have towards the Imam, that also be nurani. It has to be crystal clear, that faith in him, the desire to want him, and this love that I portray to him, all of that has to be clear, has to be crystal, it has to be real, not fake. Now, when someone has that muwalat, that is that reciprocal love towards the Imam, says as a result of that, in another ziyarat, Ziyarat Jami'at al-Kabira, there we say that bimuwalatikum allamana Allah ma'alim dinina. That with that muwalat, with that love that you have towards the Imam, as a result of that love, he teaches you. Many a times you have that desire to learn something and you don't find any mentor, anyone to teach you. And all of a sudden you see that you are inspired. That what you were after, that what you wanted to know is given to you. You are taught. That is that desire a person has, with that sincerity, with that love he has towards the Imam, then they make all the arrangements. They make the wall, the door, the ceiling, the trees, the herbs, the shrubs, the mountains. They would become your mentor, and whatever ilm and science you need to know, you will be taught. You may be living in one part of the earth where there is no one to teach you, but when you have that bonding with the Imam alayhi salam, with the Ahlul Bayt, bimuwalatikum, علمنا الله معالم ديننا. As a result of this mahabbat and muwalat that we have towards the Imams, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, علمنا الله, Allah taught us معالم ديننا, the sciences of our religion. وأصلح ما كان فسد من دنيانا. As a result of this muwalat to the Imam, to the Ma'sumin alayhim salam, the corruption in me, the wrong in me, that is also removed. So if I have that desire that I want to know the Imam, I want to be with the Imam, and I constantly keep on calling Ya Sahib al-Zaman, Ya Baqiyat Allah, Ya Aba Salih, Ajrikni, that in that constant reminding of ourselves and constant calling of the Imam, that slowly that does its job. Now even if you don't feel like calling him, doesn't matter, just keep on calling him. A time would come that unintentionally your heart will start calling. I've mentioned this quite a few times, that we can even change, just like the ringtones that we change on our devices, we can change the ringtone of our heart. That heart, instead of palpitation and just making that noise and sound all the time, that heart of yours can call Ya Sahib al-Zaman, Ya Sahib al-Zaman, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. Every beat of the heart can be that call of Ya Sahib al-Zaman. So all this is possible, that all these are prescriptions given to us by the noble ones, and they don't give our prescriptions if they cannot be followed. So whatever and however, that is when you make a habit of calling the Imam alayhi salam, that muwalat is created. As a result of that muwalat, whatever you sincerely want from Allah, that is also given to you. The sciences you need are taught to you. The corruption that we have in us, that also is removed as a result of that love and muhabbat that we have towards the Imam alayhi salam. And I did mention this riwayat just a few days ago, and it doesn't matter, we'll repeat it. We talked about Sayyid ibn Taus in the when we that the Salawat Khaja Nasiruddin Tusi were mentioned. Sayyid ibn Taus, one of these great personalities, he says that I went to the Sardab Muqaddas, and there I had my own supplications, my own observances, and then I hear Imam is also present over there. And Imam was saying that Allahumma inna shi'atana khalaqta min shu'a'i anwarina. That is, God, our Shias, they were created with this leftover, with the nur, or the rays with which we were created, and the clay, the remaining clay with which we were created. Now the reason why we get connected and we get these informations, or someone when he recites about Imam Hussein, you get moved and you cry, or when you are talking about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, his birth, you get overjoyed. It's because of that connection that we have with the Ma'sumin alayhim salam, for which we are thankful to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. Imam, this kind existence, this existence of mercy, he cares for the humanity. He cares for the Shias in particular. He says to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, these Shias, they have done a lot of wrong. And all that wrong was based upon the love they had towards us. The Imam says, if it is with Haqqullah they have done, the rights of God have been tampered, says God, I mediate, and for you, you will never say no to me. And in these munajat that we recite in the month of Shaban, there's a beautiful phrase that is taught to us by the Imams. There says that Ilahi in adkhaltan النار ففي ذلك السرور عدوك وإن أدخلتني الجنة ففي ذلك السرور نبيك. God, if you made me enter the hell, your enemies will be happy. If you made me enter the heaven, your prophet will be happy. And by God, I know for you the love of Rasulullah is way better and heavier than the joy of Rasulullah for you is better, and you want that than the joy of your enemies. Imam says that if you make them punish, if you assign them the hell, it's your enemies you will be happy. They will be happy. And if you make them and forgive them and make them enter the heaven, your Habib will be happy. And then he says in the continuation of that dua, and if it is money matters, if that's debts they have and they haven't paid one another, make them so rich that khums becomes wajib on them. Khums is my right. I'll pay away their debts with this khums which is mine. We have an Imam that kind, that caring. And we do have loads of these examples even in Nahj al-Balagha, and that is during the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen. One of the names that we have given for the Imam is Ghawsul Ummah, helper of the nation. The doors, they are always open. It isn't as such that you have to get an appointment or see whenever it is possible. They don't do that. Everyone has access whenever they want. And Amirul Mu'mineen being the first person of the Islamic State and an old man in his last years of his life, and in Kufa it's hot, plus 50 Celsius in summer. He comes and sits outside Masjid Kufa. Masjid Kufa was the headquarters of the Imam. He sits outside the masjid. The security, they say that, why don't you sit in your office, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen? Whoever comes to see you, we'll show him in. He'll come to your office. Imam says, from here to my office, it's going to take that much extra minutes. And I don't want them to suffer for any extra minutes. The problem that they have should be eased immediately, instantly. That is the care that is rendered by an Imam, a Ma'asum, an envoy, an ambassador of Allah wa Ta'ala, and everyone is waiting for that Messiah who cares for us, who worries for us. And in Nahj al-Balagha, it quotes this incident there. It says that Abu Rabi Ishami says, I asked Imam al-Sadiq about a report I heard from Amr bin Ishaq, and that is Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he was leading the prayers, the Jummah prayers in Kufa, says that one of those congregants who were present in the Jama'at, in the Jummah, was pale. And he says that everyone left after the khutbah and the prayers. This one person, he was still there. Imam comes to him and says that, why haven't you left? Why didn't you go? He says, I'm not feeling well. I've had fever for the past few days. And then today I was a bit better. I said to myself, the best thing that I can do today is that perform a wuzu and go and offer your prayers behind Amirul Mu'mineen, the Jummah prayers behind him. That would be the best of acts that I could do. I did, and I came, I sat, I offered my prayers, and now the fever is back. And that's why I couldn't go home. I'm sitting here. Imam says that we knew that. Says, the phrase that Imam has, Inna lanafrah lifarahikum. Says, by God, we know that whenever you are happy, we are happy. When you are sad, we are sad. When you get ill, we are also ill with you. Whenever you raise your hands for du'as, it is us who say Ameen to your du'as. Says, that is, for us distance doesn't matter. Wherever you be here in North America or in the South Pole, wherever you be, you sincerely call the Imams, instantly that message gets to them. Here, some statements are such that sometimes I want to call the Imam for something that I need. If I put them in words, those words that have been uttered by myself, the time it takes for these words of mine to get to my ear, before that it is in the inbox of the Imam alayhi salam. That fast service we have when it comes to the Imams alayhi salam. بِمُوَالَاتِكُمْ عَلَّمَنَا اللَّهُ مَعَالِمَ دِينِنَا. Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman. Now, one of the other things that we have for this day that we need to apply onto ourselves, myself in particular, says قُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, speak kindly to people. And that is what Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, all of them are extra kind, extra cautious. And in the hadith says that أي للناس كلهم, says you speak kindly to people, all of them. And even may they be from among the mu'mineen or may they not be among the mu'mineen. Then Imam says, أما المؤمنون فيبسط لهم وجهه. When you speak to mu'mineen, be happy, welcoming, jolly. وَأَمَّا الْمُخَالِفُونَ, and those who are not, there you speak to them with tolerance, with moderation, inviting, to attract towards Iman. That is the easiest way to keep their evil away from you and your fellow brothers. And also it is inviting, and slowly and gradually they will accept that Iman of yours, that invitation of yours, and they will be moved towards this invitation, that is by قُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, by speaking to them kindly. It is the day of Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, although every day is his. When we say Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman, zaman is all his. And then Makan, Asri was Zaman. Zaman and Makan, both of them belong to the Imam, and he is on top of that Zaman and that Makan. And understanding these statements also has become easier now. We've got all these online sessions that are happening globally. There is one someone conducting it, and you've got all these different time zones and in different part of the earth, and all of them are present in that. So when you take this into consideration and then try to understand what Imam, and when he comes and he rules and his Sahib Zaman, he is on the time, what does that mean? Understanding these things have become simpler now. One of our Asatid, Marhum Haram Panahi Rahmatullahi alayh, he reported this incident from his father about 90 years ago in Shahriyar in Karaj. One of them, he saved some money and he said, I'll go and perform a ziyarat to Mashhad and stay there for a few days. Gets that money and then avails that trip, comes to Mashhad. On the first day of his ziyarat in Mashhad, he loses whatever he had. All the money he had, he lost. He lost it. He says that I won't go to anyone. There are people who don't like to stretch their hands before anyone. Comes straight to Imam Rida alayhi salam and says, Yabna Rasulullah, this trip was for you, ziyarat was yours, I availed everything to be here, and everything is lost. I don't have anything and I don't want to ask anyone. You fix it and you sort it for me. This is also that yaqeen he has, and a way how we also should be approaching the existence of Allah, or through the mediation of Ma'asumeen, with that yaqeen that is an outlet, and from that outlet we can get. Says that on the first day he comes and he asks and puts his request. The second day he's getting hungry now, nothing to eat. The third day dehydrated, and then he faints in the haram of Imam Raza alayhi salam. There in his dream he sees Imam tell him that tomorrow the first one to enter the haram, ask him and he will help you, he'll sort out. He says he got happy. I saw the Imam, he's given me an indication as to how I should be helped. He was sitting by the haram, the first one to enter. Says he's one of his friends, one of the people that he knew in Karaj, and his name is Ismail. Yeah, I know him, and he's renowned to be someone who doesn't say his prayers. And people, they addressed him as Ismail Binamaz, okay, someone who doesn't say his prayers. He says, no, definitely Imam shouldn't send me to Ismail who doesn't say his prayers. Then he doesn't take any notice of Ismail, and then he continues with his pledge and pleading with the Imam alayhi salam. And then again he passes out and he says, Imam, I request I had, and I'm suffering, and I don't have anything, dehydrated. Imam says, I told you the first one to enter, he is going to sort you. Says, that was Ismail. He says, yes. Next day again the same thing. Ismail enters and says, Ismail, I needed help. He quickly puts his hand in his pocket. All that amount of money he had lost, he gives it to him. And then he says, well, I got overjoyed. It's exactly the same amount I had lost. I didn't ask that how come it got to him the money, etc., because I was in need, and the moment I got it, my problems, they were solved. He says that, okay, in 2-3 days I'll be going back to Karaj. He said, I'll come and take you. Be ready, have your bags packed, and I'll come and pick you. He says he comes and meets him by the haram with his bags packed. Says, come on, let's go. Takes him to one of those lanes in Mashhad, inner lanes, and then I got scared that where is he taking me? Says we reach a house with a big basement. He's in the big stairs there. And then just one step down, he says, sit on my back. He says, why? He says, sit on my back and just carry your bags. He sat on his back. He says that I saw the earth is moving below my feet so fast. That is the Yul Ard. That is the earth, it starts moving for you, and you get to your destination in a blink of an eye. Says, I saw myself that the next moment we were in a farm. He says, I looked out around. It looked to be familiar as to this place. Ismail says to me, go and get some firewood. Let's have some tea. He goes to get some firewood. They kindle some fire. They make some tea. And then he looks at the farm. Says that's his own farm, his own property that he had traveled from. He is there as his destination. And then he says, he asked, how did this happen? And how did you get to these points? And how you got so close to the Imam? And how did that message get to you that I've lost the money? He says that Imam Riza alayhi salam, he forwarded that message of yours, of your request, to Imam al-Asr alayhi salam. Imam al-Asr alayhi salam gave that assignment to me to go and deliver this money to you. And then he says, you have access to the Imam. Then what are these rumors that people say? He is someone who doesn't say his prayers. He says, let people say what they want to say. Most of my prayers, I offer them behind the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman. Now this is one. One of the other, now when we talk about these tasharrufat, tasharruf means to meet the Imam or to come to the presence of the Imam, to somehow meet him whilst asleep, whilst awake, or in these visions, etc. All these are called tasharruf, to meet the Imam alayhi salam. Sometimes these tasharrufat in the way of dreams, sometimes they are in the way of mukashafat, in visions. One of the other, now the reason why this is being mentioned is there is a hadith which says that in the dhikr salihin, that is when you are reminded of the salihin, Allah's mercy descends. And you see for yourself that how when we are reminded of these noble ones, how we get connected to them, that bonding with them, getting connected. Just like if someone who's so hungry and all of a sudden I say pickle and achar and amka achar, etc. Although that achar is not there, that pickle is not there, turshi is not there, but your taste buds, they start secreting, and then you feel the taste of that pickle and that achar right when you are still away from it. Likewise, it's the goodness that is reminded, that is said and mentioned, you get connected. And the same thing is with evil. God forbid, if someone thinks of wrong and then have those negative thoughts, he gets connected to that evil. That is why our asatid in akhlaq, among them is Marhum Ayatullah Mishkini, he used to say, don't think of a sin as well. And the reasoning that he used to say is that thinking of a sin is like a room that you have just decorated and painted white, for example, and then you come and kindle some fire, or in today's language, you come and have some barbecue in that room. That barbecue, it will not burn the room down, but the smoke is going to make it so dirty, so ugly. And then cleaning all that smoke, it's a big task, it's a big job. So the heart of a mu'min, heart of a believer, it's like that white room which has been cleaned and whitewashed. And then thinking of sins contaminates it. And removing that contamination, it's not an easy job. So for that reason, never think of a sin, he used to say. Now here, remembering the noble ones, that gets us connected to the mercy of Allah, as a result of which that mercy descends upon us. In one of these tasharrufat, Abul Hasan Abil Baghl Katib, he says that I had problems, like every one of us, we have problems, and I wanted a solution to these problems. I come to Bab al-Hawa'ij. Bab al-Hawa'ij, the four recognized and the famous ones. One is Imam Kazim alayhi salatu wassalam. The second, we have Abul Fazl al-Abbas alayhi salam. The third is Hazrat Ali Asghar alayhi salam. And the fourth is Hazrat Fatima salamullahi alayha. He says that I had problems, and then it was a stormy night. I come to the haram of Kazimain, Imam Kazim alayhi salam. And I requested the caretaker, the security at that time, Abu Ja'far al-Qayyum. I asked him that just lock the doors, I'll stay in, and it's stormy, I can't leave. He says that I was all alone in the haram of Kazimain, occupied in prayers and du'as and ziyarat. And it was past midnight, and there wasn't anyone in the sacred shrine. And I heard someone walk in from the zari of Imam Kazim. Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salatu wasalam saw someone reciting a ziyarat. He was reciting ziyarat in such a beautiful way. And then I heard him mention all of the prophets, the Ulul Azm. And then I heard him mention the name of Prophet Adam, the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, mentioned every Imam, and he sent a salam to every single Imam. And then the Imam, the 11th Imam also, he mentioned his name, he sent salam to him, but he did not mention the name of the 12th Imam. I thought that he may have forgotten the name of the 12th, or that he may not know him, or maybe he doesn't have faith in him, doesn't believe in the 12th Imam, like many are Sixers, four Imams, etc. Maybe he is one of them who doesn't believe in the 12th. Then he says that I saw him recite the ziyarat at Imam Kazim, and then comes to his grandson Imam Jawad alayhi salam, which is just by in the same zari besides Imam Kazim. May Allah tabarak wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq that we pay more visits to the sacred shrines of the Ma'sumin alayhim salam, inshallah. Says that he comes here by the zari of Imam Jawad alayhi salam, recites the ziyarat, offered a 2 rakat prayer, and he was of a complete age. Complete age meaning that someone who is not young, not very old. Complete age is at the age of 40. Dressed in white with an amama and a hanak. Hanak is that piece of cloth which hangs down the amama. It is mustahab to have it. That especially when it's when a person is offering his prayers, that hanak is called taht al-hanak. So he was dressed in white, and then with a turban, with a hanak on, and an abba. Age also was a complete age, looked 40. He then addressed me, and he said to me, Abul Hasan ibn Abil Baghl, why do you not recite Dua Faraj? He addressed me with my name. I said, my master, and which Dua Faraj? Because we've got so many Dua Faraj, like Allahumma kulli waliyik al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, Ilahi Adham al-Bala, or Allahumma adkhil ala ahli al-Qubur al-Surur, and many, many more. All of them, they are known as Dua Faraj. He said, which one? Now the Imam, he is replying, says, offer a 2 rakat prayer. And once you've done that, say, Ya man adhar al-jameel wa satar al-qabih. There's a small dua, there's 2-3 phrases, I'll send it to you. And once you've done that dua, repeat Ya Rabbahu, Ya Rabbahu, Ya Rabbah 10 times. Then Ya Sayyidah 10 times. Then Ya Mawlah 10 times. And then Ya Ghayatah 10 times. And finally, Ya Muntaha Ghayati Raghbatah 10 times. And once you've done that, he says, you say, As'aluka bihaqqi hadhihi al-asma wa bihaqqi Muhammadin wa alihi al-tahirin alayhim as-salam illa ma kashafta karbi wa nafasta hammi wa farrajta ghammi wa aslahta hali. And then you ask for your hajat, and then in sajda, you place your right side of your forehead in sajda, and you say 100 times, Ya Muhammadu Ya Ali, Ya Aliyu Ya Muhammad, Ikfiyani fa innakuma kafiyai, Wansurani fa innakuma nasirai. Now here, Ya Muhammadu Ya Ali, you two help me and suffice me from these problems that I'm facing. Help me, fa innakuma nasirai, as you are the two helpers. And then Imam says, with your left side in sajda, say adrikni, adrikni, adrikni 100 times, and back in sajda, your forehead, al-ghaus, al-ghaus, al-ghaus 3 times. So this is the dua faraj that was mentioned and taught to us by the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. And on a day like today, which is still the 15th of Shaban, the day of the Imam alayhi salam, and we recited in this dua nudba today that Aina Babullah alladhi minhu yu'ta. Where is that door of Allah? And from that door you get what you want. You can come to that door. That door today is Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. Or elsewhere in another ziyarat we say that we read Bikum yumsikus sama an taqa'a ala al-ard illa bi'iznih. That this sky that you see, which is intact and it doesn't fall on the earth, that is as a result of the presence of the Imam, that he is holding it back. He is keeping everything safe for you. All these disasters that are away from us, they are because of that kind presence of mercy of the Imam alayhi salam. Ayna babullah alladhi minhu yu'ta. So we have to learn to ask from the Imam, have a good relationship with the Imam today, and we ask Allah tabarak wa ta'ala that make it as such that we meet him, we see him, and we stay with him, we serve him, and every good that every noble asked from Allah tabarak wa ta'ala be given to every one of us. And may Allah, the Eid of this day, be the return of the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma arini at-tal'ata al-rashida wal-ghurrata al-hamida واكحل ناظري بنظرة مني إليه وعجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer.